I'm going to show you how to change out the cartridge in this Glacier Bay shower valve. Let's get started. So over time, this shower valve handle has become very difficult to turn, and the issue is not with the handle itself, but rather with the cartridge. So to repair the issue, we need to change out the cartridge, but in order to change out the cartridge, we need to know what type of cartridge we're going to need to replace it with. So there are no model numbers on the outside of this shower valve, so in order to find that model number, we're going to have to take this valve apart. There's two common places where you can find this number. One is on the backside of the escutcheon plate or the cover, and the other is on the inverter or the little extension that comes off the cartridge and what the handle connects to. Glacier Bay is made by Home Depot, so once you have this identifying number, you can go to Home Depot. It may not actually be that simple. You may actually have to get help and have someone look it up for you and get the right cartridge for your shower valve. So to take this valve apart, you start by removing the handle. To do that, you'll need a metric number 2 Allen wrench or hex wrench. At least that's what it was on this one. Now there's a little rubber cap that you need to remove to gain access to that set screw. You simply unscrew that set screw with that hex wrench. Now I'm going to be honest, sometimes this can be really challenging. There can be corrosion on the set screw or on the inverter, and removing that set screw and or handle can be really challenging. If it becomes stripped or you can't remove it, you can look online or search YouTube on how to remove a stuck shower head handle. I'm not totally removing the set screw. I don't want to lose it. As you can see, this shower valve has some corrosion on it. You're going to notice more of it. You can do an internet search on how to remove this. This video is focused on replacing the cartridge. Next, I'll remove the escutcheon plate. This is held in place by 2 long screws. Sometimes the escutcheon plate will have a bead of silicone around the perimeter of it. If so, you'll need to cut that silicone in order to remove it. Next, I'll remove the sleeve. This is just a cover. It's usually not on there very tight. I unscrewed this by hand. Next, with a Phillips screwdriver, I will unscrew the screw that holds this inverter onto the cartridge. This device is cool. It allows you to manually set the max hot water temperature for the valve. Your new cartridge will have one of these, so this could be replaced. The way it works is there's a little needle or pointer on the cartridge. The closer you set that needle or pointer to the plus side, the hotter the maximum water temperature will be at the valve, and of course, the further away, the cooler it will be. This is something you'll need to set when you install the new cartridge. Okay, so now that we got this far, we need to turn off the water before we go any further. The cool thing about this valve is that it has these little isolation shutoff valves that you can turn off versus turning the water off to the whole house. So to turn the water off, all we have to do is turn these screws to the right. So righty-tighty turns it off, lefty-loosey turns it back on. Now that we have the water off, we can remove the bonnet nut that holds the cartridge in place. I have a pair of channel locks that I'm using to unscrew this bonnet nut. Now there is a flat spot on the threading of the bonnet nut that you can place your channel locks on there. Now, I'm not a plumber. I don't like doing that just because I'm afraid that I might slip and potentially damage the threads, whereas this way the bonnet nut is in the wall, it's not visible, so if it gets scratched, it's less destructive than screwing up the threads. A plumber may have a different opinion though. Okay, so I removed the bonnet nut and the cartridge. This is a picture of the valve body without the cartridge in it. So here's the new cartridge. Notice those little plastic posts at the bottom. It's important that those are installed towards the bottom of the valve. This is important. If you're looking at it from the front, the hot should be on the left and the cold should be on the right. The instructions that came with this new cartridge didn't call for any plumber's grease or silicone grease. However, many plumbers do recommend using it on shower cartridges. To install the new cartridge, simply insert it, make sure it's sitting in the valve body correctly. Next, we'll reinstall the bonnet nut. Now, the instructions say to hand tighten the bonnet, and then once it's hand tightened with a wrench, turn it a quarter turn. I did that. It didn't work on this valve. After I had fully reassembled the shower valve, I went to test my work. I turned the water on, it came on, there was no leaks. When I went to turn the water off, it wouldn't turn off. After spending more time than I would like troubleshooting it, I realized that the bonnet wasn't tightened down enough. So the seal on the cartridge wasn't making contact with the valve body. Once I tightened it down more, it worked fine. So don't over tighten it because you can damage it. But if you under tighten it, you won't be able to turn off the water. Next, we turn the water back on by opening the isolation valves. Once the water's back on, we can check for leaks, check for any dripping inside the wall. We can temporarily attach the inverter and the handle to operate the valve. We want to make sure that the water turns off, that there's no leaks, that it operates smoothly. If everything's operating the way it should, you can move on to the next step, which would be setting the hot water temperature on your shower valve. Once that's done, you can reverse the process and reassemble your shower valve. When you put that escutcheon plate back on, it's a little tricky because you need to align those screws with these holes. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. You know, we put out videos like this on a regular basis. They include simple repairs that many homeowners can do, as well as general house knowledge. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.